Alright, comment video. Yeah, just watch Fred's video where he's, whatever he was doing, for a half an hour, lamenting the structure of YouTube, the fact that we can't have, that nothing can get done here, that we can't get an audience, we can't get people to care, that there's just, that it just seems so, there's something so wrong with this world that that you can't even if people are motivated to fix something, that there's so few of them, that people are so distracted by bullshit, and then somebody shows up and does exactly the cliche pile of shit. And I mean the real problem is that we're in a whatever the asylum is, and there's just no hierarchy. The complete babbling idiots can just outshout anybody who's got something reasonable to say, and it's just, this is really what's wrong with the world, is that there's not proper cages. We're not segregated into proper cages, and this so this asshole has an icon that has the Twin Towers turned into a cartoon with little smiley faces and shit on them. So yeah, there you go right there. And this name is unpronounceable. New Raya Bidnenas Fat Butt. I think that's what it means in whatever, Swahili or something. I don't know what the fuck that shit is. Anyway, alright, so this is just such a profoundly ignorant, stupid comment. And you're just saying, why should somebody be able to type this crap on my video? Why should I have to waste my time with a lying, ignorant comment this stupid? I mean, it is just, after 4,000, this is just so fucking preposterously stupid. So anyway. To call me Gary. Starts off Gary. What the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you, asshole? Okay, the channel's called Efilist. Alright, what are you using my name for? Like I should have a conversation with somebody as rude and ugly and stupid and fat-butted as you? No thank you. You haven't earned any right, you impolite, rude, obnoxious piece of shit, who is so profoundly ignorant. Like I said, you should walk around, like they had that bubble kid, because he was, allergic to everything or whatever. They should have cage suits for people. You should be in a fucking cage. Wherever you go, you should be in a cage so you can't cause too much trouble. Because you're that stupid. You're so fucking retarded and stupid and obnoxious and disgusting and ugly that you should be in a fucking cage. Anyway. Your value math is subjective. Well, I'm sorry, it is not subjective, okay? It's a really simple. Yes, we're going to intellectually realize that there's two kinds of conscious states, pleasant and unpleasant. Consciousnesses experience them subjectively, but it's an objective fact that consciousnesses have those states. That can't be unraveled, that can't be defeated, it's a fact. This statement is absolute bullshit. Alright, beating a man to death equals bad. Well, you got something right. Brilliant. In the short term, right? At the moment the man's being beaten to death, yes, it's bad. Okay? Nothing's being stated about overall in the whole scheme of things. It's just a statement of probability. The fact is, 99.99% of the time, if somebody's getting beaten to death, it's probably not a good thing. That's all. That's what the value math tells you. It tells you that probabilistically you're creating suffering, and suffering tends to be a bad thing unless it's preventing more suffering. So unless the guy you're beating to death would cause more suffering than the suffering you're imposing on him, you can't justify the beating. There, not complicated. There, could you handle that? No, you can't handle that. Beating a man named Hitler equals good. Well, there's lots of people, other people have been named Hitler. You should say Adolf Hitler of World War II, emperor status. But anyway, yeah, that's correct. Because, and why? Oh, that's right, because Hitler caused 50 million people to get horribly killed in a very unpleasant manner, plus all the collateral industrial damage. Plus, we just add up all the broken families, the orphans, just tremendous human grief created by this monster. So obviously it's cost effective to get rid of him in any manner possible. You couldn't torture, you'd have to torture him for like 1 trillion years for it to be unnecessary, for it to be value neutral. Alright, how in the hell could you possibly believe in objective truth when you're brain is making the equation subjectively. Well, again, my brain is not making the equation subjectively. It's making it logically. And you don't want to admit that fact? The fact that I am a subjective consciousness experiencing qualitative states gives me information, okay? My brain takes that information and says, okay, this is what consciousnesses do. They feel. And they feel good and they feel bad. And I can put the things in those two categories. Is that too complicated for you? And then I can extend that and realize that the other consciousnesses are doing exactly the same thing. They're having positive and negative experiences, and that those experiences have value. Not that complicated. Is that really? That's too hard for you to follow. There are no absolutes. No, well, the absolute is the fact of the qualitative state. Yes, there's no absolutes in that we have purely efficient predictive power. And in no video have I suggested that we can predict absolutely in every circumstance what the right thing to do. Even in the World War II example, I have repeatedly pointed out that, yes, by probability, you know the right thing to do is stick a fork in Hitler's eye, or even in Hitler's mother's eye, if you could go back in time. But that you couldn't be sure. Because the fact is, we could do it even worse. It seems probabilistic, logically, that we couldn't do much worse than the 50 million people killed horribly, plus all the collateral damage. It seems to me that it's pretty unlikely that the likely scenarios that would have played out if Hitler never existed would be worse than World War II. Yeah, that doesn't seem very likely, asshole. And that's the only statement being made. So you're just a liar. Okay, that's all. You're just lying here. This isn't my position. This is a straw man lie. And I don't need you to tell me in all capitals there are no absolutes. What? No, we don't have perfect predictive power, but there are absolutes. Water is wet. Okay, because we invented the word wet to describe what water is, asshole. So it's an absolute fact. It's absolute fact that the world is not flat. So yes, there's plenty of absolutes, and one of those absolutes is that conscioussnesses have qualitative states. That the states can be distinguished from each other, that we can know for certain that it's good for a kid to be splashing in a pool and bad for a kid to be having chemotherapy. We can know that shit. Well, we can. You can't. That's why you belong in a fucking goddamn cage. Only subjective descriptions of reality. So again, he doesn't believe that it's absolutely true, okay, that 6 million Jews being tortured to death is bad, and that those 6 million Jews eating cupcakes will be good. He can't figure that out. That's confusing to him. He says, no, I don't know how to form an opinion on that. It's whether or not I like Jews or not, I'll decide. If I don't like Jews, then it doesn't matter. They can be tortured, and if I like Jews, it's okay. Some kind of bizarre irrationality like that. Like when some people say that certain color blue a certain color is blue and others say the same color is green. Well, again, now you're using something that has to do with, I don't want to get into the biology and physics, but why don't you just use the fact that we even label these colors? Or that somebody would say, I like the color blue better than the color red. Well, yeah, that's a subjective opinion, not based on any kind of logic or interpretation. It's completely a biological response, a physiological response. So it has absolutely no integrity. It's completely built out of conditioning. So it's like a statement like, I don't like Jews. I can't give you a rational reason why I don't like them, but I just don't like them. That would be subjective. We know the difference between objective or rational and subjective and irrational. And so the argument being made, you can't sit there and compare colors, the difference between blue and green, and the difference between a kid splashing in a pool and a kid having chemotherapy. That's what you just did here. You compared color differences to the difference between qualitative states of things, conscious experiences. And that's just ludicrous. Because again, everybody knows these truths. You can't fail to get, if you fail to get this one right, like I said, you fail as a human being. You fail as a brain entirely. Your brain is absolute fucking shit. If you can't figure out that it's better, to give a kid a cupcake than it is to kick a kid in the balls, if they have balls, you're an idiot. You're too stupid. You're too fucking stupid. All right. Truth lies in the subjective perception. Again, we're not subjectively deciding that the world isn't flat. Okay, we're objectively observing it. And again, we're objectively observing that this is what sentient beings do. They have qualitative states. I know it. You're not going to argue it with me, asshole. I personally experience them. Okay? I know when I feel like shit, when I have Lyme disease, I don't feel good. It's bad. I don't ever want to do that again. And I know when I'm doing something else that's fun, that, yeah, that's good. And I can put them in two categories: bad, good. And you're not going to tell me otherwise. You're not going to tell me I'm actually having a good time when I'm miserable and I'm actually having a terrible time when I'm happy. I mean, that's just ludicrous. You're insane. You belong in a fucking cage. You're too fucking stupid for participation. Okay, of the individual claiming something as truth. Well, again, what's the claim of truth is built on the fact that every single word we have for positive and negative can be, in its history, traced to the idea of how it affects the welfare in terms of feeling good, feeling bad, of sentient beings. So this is, again, it's a full truth. Half empty, half full. Well, again, that value equation you judge, okay, is your subjective opinion. You're saying it's half empty or half full based on your subjective interpretation of your own existence, perhaps. Okay, but you're not making any kind of logical equation. You're not telling me what's the right number of lion cubs to be killed before their first birthday. How high would I have to make the number before you subjectively say that's too high an attrition rate? Okay, I mean 3,000 or 4,000 octopuses, okay, never reach maturity. So 3,000 or 4,000 per every one that survives to maturity is the attrition rate. How high would I have to make that number? And I could ask the same thing about humans. Let's say we put humans back in a native environment. How many of their babies would have to die before you'd say, oh no, that's just a little bit too brutal, too stupid, too idiotic? So that would be a subjective opinion. What's being attempted here is to make an argument that everything you do that you enjoy, every little stupid pleasure, every desire and ambition you have, every perception you have that the human race must exist is absolute crap. Okay, and the fact is that humans don't need to exist any more than the Martians need to exist. They quite obviously don't need to exist, and the Venetians don't need to exist, and the Moonikites don't need to exist, and the Mercuryites don't need to exist. And until you can answer that question, you have nothing. Absolutely nothing to defend your half-empty, half-full crap. This isn't about a half-empty or half-full. This is about whether there's a reason to even give a fuck whether there's anything in the goddamn glass. But anyway, that's a whole nother issue. So anyway, fuck you. Obnoxious piece of shit who doesn't make videos, doesn't even have their feed on. And you're gonna make a snarky shit comment like this on my video, and you don't even have the balls to have your feed on, so I can see what other shit you type. I mean, that's just so fucking unaccountable and rude. I mean, God, fuck you. I hope you get exactly what you deserve. I hope somebody draws a cartoon on your fucking cancer-ridden, disgusting, fat-ass corpse. You piece of absolute motherfucking shit. Good night, Gracie. Disgusting. Really. Fuck you. God. I'm just gonna delete this shit. Fuck it. Fuck you. Stupid bastards. Yeah, why don't you stupid bastards, all you stupid subjectivist bastards, why don't you, look, you could always ask Greytex or some other complete drunken lunatic moron to somehow make a defense of your nonsense, that somehow good feelings aren't good feelings and bad feelings aren't good bad feelings. Why don't you have one of those assholes undo that absolute truth? Okay? And then talk to me. And then bring your story to me. Alright? But till then, fuck you. Be accountable or fuck you. Yeah. That's it. Accountability. That's like another one of these logical things.